What's going on, Team Dragonia's here today, and we are going to be talking about Transformers: The Last Knight, which comes out in theaters June 23rd. Now, today is April 4th, 2017, and tonight a friend of mine has taken me and we have seen an exclusive sneak peek of the upcoming film. And just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, there will be some theory crafting towards the end of this video, and I'm going to break this up into sections as I did with my Power Ranger movie reaction. So without further ado, let's get into section number 1. So for those of you that clicked this video and thought, whoa, wait a minute, theory crafting for this new video? What new information could we get that we don't already have from the trailers? Well, check this out. Sneak Peeks gave out a bunch of cool little details and information from the man Michael Bay himself. But before that, as we were walking into the theater, they gave us 3 cool little items of swag. Item number 1 is this right here. It says Transformers: The Last Knight in theaters June 23rd, IMAX fan event. Yes, this was presented in IMAX 2D, not 3D, and the reason for that, it is still in post-production currently from the looks of things, and they have yet to finalize, because it is IMAX, and because Michael Bay filmed it in IMAX 3D, this is the first film to actually do that. If he were to try and render out even just this like preview in like full IMAX 3D, not really cost effective, so let's just show it to you in 2D because you're gonna come back and we want you to come back to watch the real movie anyway. Regardless, this little beauty happens to be a USB hub. For those of you my techies, you'll see that's the USB 2.0. But it's still cool just because it's swag. Second thing that they gave us was a little bit cooler, but at the same time a little bit more ancillary. It is a t-shirt. Yep. Says Transformers: The Last Knight, an IMAX fan event. The third thing they gave us is a little cooler, and I like it, and that's because it comes in this envelope. And it's a damn big envelope. And as you can see right there, Transformers: The Last Knight, an IMAX fan event, kind of running a theme here. But inside of this envelope is a poster. And the poster is not white. This is the back of it. Calm down, calm down. I see the comments down below. I'm reading them right now. Chill. So on here, you're able to see what looks like the planet Earth. You do get to see a little bit more of Earth. So it might be pre-Earth. That might be Pandora, Pangea, whatever you want to call it. Or that might be Cybertron. Then that is Earth down there, more or less clearly. And then at the bottom you have a 3-headed dragon, which got me hyped to see this film. And then there is a little cool tidbit. It looks like Optimus on the right and Megatron on the right, and they both have armies at their control, and this is a shield overall. So that was a swag that they gave us. Moving on, part 2. So for part number 2, I want to talk about the returning cast of characters. Obviously, our man Mark Wahlberg, I really don't care for his name. I don't. I just look at him and I go, alright, well that's Mark Wahlberg. That's it. You literally could have just named him Mark and I would have been fine with it. Moving on to the Transformers, we of course have the return of Bumblebee. Bumblebee making a return, and we do see in a trailer early on, there is a bit of a tension and a fight between Bumblebee and Prime. Prime obviously going to be a returning character, and we leave him at Age of Extinction as he flies off into space. And I don't know when he got that ability, but I don't know why he didn't use it sooner. I don't know. We also have one of my favorites from Age of Extinction, Hound, returning. I always thought Hound was a really cool character. Even cooler still that he's voiced by none other than John Goodman. Oh my god, John Goodman really just brings this character to life. But he's still not my favorite of the characters. We do also see the return of my actual favorite, Crosshairs. Crosshairs, I mean, he's green. You guys who know me know I love the color green, and he's voiced by John DiMaggio, so I get John DiMaggio, I get the color green, I'm in heaven. I'm totally in heaven. Plus, he looks so badass in his outfit. His entire transformed, like, robot mode is him with like a cloak. He looks like Reaper out of Overwatch. It's something else. It's something on a whole nother level of just really cool, well done character design. And at some point, do expect to see Megatron, Galvatron. Feel free to just enjoy those characters. And those are the main like returning characters that we see. Some of the new characters we do have, as far as the humans go, we have this female character that plays is a second part to Mark Wahlberg's character. Not really sure what her involvement is yet. From the sneak peek that we got, she apparently is some type of PhD, smart English person. And we do have Anthony Hopkins. And from the sneak peek, we do get a bit more of an understanding of Anthony Hopkins in this film. He is more of a historian, and I feel that his role is going to be setting the stage for the adventure that Mark Wahlberg and crew are going to be going on with the Transformers. And that kind of leads me into the last of the new Transformers, and then we'll go into theory crafting. Some of the new Transformers that we do see in the trailers early on are Canopy, Squeaks, and that I saw tonight, which was very interesting, Hot Rod. That's going to do it for characters. Time for part 3. Now this is what I really want to talk about. It's theory crafting. It's the part of the video that I want to really go into what I saw tonight, what I digested, and where I think this is going to take the film as a whole. Mind you, this is Michael Bay's last Transformers. He said it before, I'm sure he'll say it again. I don't know anyone to ever turn down money, so I don't see it as being his true last of the franchise. But if it is, let's theory craft around that as a fact. So first off, you do have in the beginnings of the trailer an image of this ancient battle taking place in what seems like medieval times. You do have what looks very Game of Thronesy, catapults, men on horses, cavalrymen, suits of armor, and that does play along the lines of this last night mentality. And I do feel that because Anthony Hopkins plays the part of the historian, you do see him have the Knights of the Round Table's round table, as well as he is in a possession apparently of the armor of many of the Knights of the Round Table. Arthur, Lancelot, Guinevere, like a bunch of them. And I feel that because he is playing this role, he's going to have a pivotal part in kind of shaping the overall narrative. I don't know about you, but every time I look at Anthony Hopkins in this film, I can't help but think that I'm getting a cross between Hannibal Lecter, depending on the angle or how close they are with the camera, and Odin. I really do feel he's just that kind of an actor where you say, all right, Mr. Hopkins, I just need you to tell me a story. And he does that, and he does it so very well. In the clips that we did see, he is talking to Mark Wahlberg's character, kind of setting the stage and kind of getting the alignment of the film going and setting up a history not only of this battle and prefacing it and showing us stuff about the Knights of the Round Table, but also prefacing the Transformers history that we've known from other films in the franchise. For specifics, in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, the second film in the franchise, you do have Jetfire, who claims to be a much older bomber plane from the World War II era, and when they find him, he does give a bit of a dialogue about that fact, saying, I've been around for quite some time and I'm kind of getting old here. In the sneak peek, we do see a World War I tank, in fact, who gets transformed and accidentally fires on Bumblebee and company. But I do find that they're playing a lot on this angle of time and how it relates. We are told through the sneak peek tonight that apparently King Arthur and his round table were not alone, and it wasn't exactly Merlin magically helping him kind of win over and conquer England. It was that he had with him 12 knights, or 12 Transformers, that helped him kind of rein in control of England. And the swords, especially the one that Optimus took, as he claimed in the Age of Extinction, he is the last knight. It does seem to play a vital role in the storytelling and narrative for this film. The element of time and time travel especially, it does seem through the trailer and through some of the peeks that we got that time travel may in fact become a key part of the film. Personally, unless you're Back to the Future, I really don't feel you're going to do time travel well. I really feel time travel tends to ruin franchises and video games and things of that nature. Time travel tends to ruin them because no one has really sat down and thought through the true effects of what time travel will do, with the exception, in my opinion, of the Back to the Future franchise. That is very well thought out, methodical time travel. In the trailer, you see Optimus is going head-to-head and fighting with Bumblebee. In the sneak peeks, we do actually see that Optimus has made it, as he promised at the end of Age of Extinction, to get to the Maker and try and figure out why they are trying so hard to eradicate or to recollect these primes, it seems, that they're going after. And they don't specify that it is the primes, but you kind of get that feeling because they're so hard up to get Optimus. But that said, we do in the sneak peeks get an idea of why Optimus is turned and comes back to fight his fellow Autobots. The Maker seems to have gained control of him, and if you look in his eyes, they look very much different to the blue eyes that we're used to seeing Optimus have. They are a weird shade of purple, which means that they've been in some way changed. Blue in many ways is a symbol for goodness or purity or tranquility. Red being the counter opposite is very angry, it is very agitated. Most of the Decepticons, Megatron notwithstanding, have red eyes because they share that difference. Optimus currently having purple eyes might seem to be that kind of middle ground, that synergy between Autobot and Decepticon. Somewhere in the middle, not quite one or the other. And we're going to have to see how that plays out and what kind of journey or story arc that brings him to. But now getting back to the history of it, if they do decide to embed some kind of time travel element to it, they're going to have an interesting way of doing it. Present day of the film takes place obviously after Age of Extinction, where the Autobots are still seen as enemies, or in general the Transformers are seen as enemies of humankind. There's a very xenophobic view towards these entities that at one time were seen as helpful protectors, saviors even, and now it's just a complete banner blacklisting all of them, and you do see things of propaganda showing Autobots such as Optimus Prime and Bumblebee labeled as enemies. So it's very interesting to see what has become of the world and where the Transformers kind of stand, even though you do have the good Autobots like Hound, like Crosshairs, like Bumblebee still trying to fight the good fight, as it were, and protect humanity, even though humanity scorns them. Now, very cool, we do see in the sneak peek that Anthony Hopkins' character does have a greater understanding or historical connection to the Autobots. Well, in fact, he does identify himself in a very interesting way. He identifies himself as the last living member of the long-standing Order of the Witwickens. If you're familiar with the franchise, you kind of have to think about it. Wait a minute, that sounds like Witwicky. Is this kind of tying into the first 3 films? I feel like it is. I feel like maybe that really is the nail that says this is definitely my final Transformers flick. I'm gonna tie everything together. Yes, indeedy. Otherwise, why would you really mention it? I mean, we do understand that the Witwickies in this canon, in this kind of franchise universe that has been created, the Witwickies are a long-standing, well thought of kind of family. Sam's grandfather's an explorer, and we do hear a lot of good things that come of that. The discovery of Megatron, not exactly a good thing, I'd say, but again, it moves the plot, so we have to accept it for what it is. And so it is very possible that Anthony Hopkins' character is in some way related to this Witwicky family. As far as character arcs go, whether they do go with the time travel angle or what that has to play out is yet to be seen, obviously. Even in the sneak peeks, it was very disjointed. The modern day understanding is that the Dinobots are living and kind of coexisting with the rest of the remaining Autobots. The character that Mark Wahlberg plays is trying to keep everything together, keep things moving forward, and yet we do have this new girl character who has her own connection to these Autobots, Canopy and Squeaks. What that is, yet to be determined. We get a very brief look at Canopy, and in the sneak peek, we do see him in his final moments as he gets killed. Tonight, we did have a preface to the sneak peek footage that we saw by the man himself, Michael Bay, where he says, look, we took 14 writers, stuck them in a room for a month, and we got 14 scripts. And out of those 14 scripts, we kind of weeded through the best one that we really wanted to make the last film that we do for Transformers. And so I kind of got the feeling from that and watching these clips and seeing what's going on, it's possible that they kind of just took the best ideas from all of the scripts and just said, look, let's just go out with a bang, make it something big, over the top, epic. And I wouldn't exactly mind that. I've gotten into the mindset where I'm going to be okay with it for what it is. I'm going to have to accept it for what it is. And I'm going to enjoy it for the epic impossibility, improbability, non-canonical canon that it is. And that brings me to this. I mentioned Hot Rod earlier. And for those of you that understand Transformers lore, Transformers canon, you guys understand from the movies and some of the books, at some point, Optimus does pass on. Optimus does stop being the leader. And in that vacancy, Hot Rod is the one who rises up and becomes Rodimus Prime and becomes the leader, the new leader of these Autobots. What remains of them in this franchise as opposed to the scores of them that were in the original G1 canon. But that doesn't take away my idea of, are we going to get a Rodimus Prime story arc? Are we going to see anything more than just the inclusion of a new character just before the end of the franchise? Is that really one of the directions they're going to take this film? I don't know. And the other is this. At the end of Age of Extinction, Galvatron does say that he will see Prime again. While this can just be taken and brushed off as a, well, yeah, let's tease for something that we might do even if we never do it, this poster that has the two of them on it, Galvatron and Optimus, and the image that we get of these knights standing side by side with Arthur kind of gives me an idea that it's possible, in one iteration that this film might take, that Optimus and Megatron at one point were brothers in arms, and they fought together, and at some point that alliance diverged and stopped being. This completely spits in the face of the idea of Cybertron, the Great War for Cybertron that we all possibly know and love if you're a Transformers fan. It's completely just spits in the face of that. But again, this is a different canon. This is a different universe. This is a different take on it. So it's plausible that we have a scene where the two of them either come together or at some point have come together to fight. And that brings me to my last point. No matter what ending this story decides to take, no matter what story they decide to tell, it wasn't until today that it kind of like hit me. I, for the first time today, April 4th, 2017, watched Age of Extinction just before these previews so I can get a better understanding. And I've seen now all the films up until the last night, and I've seen the sneak previews, and I gotta be honest with you, I wanted to hate Age of Extinction, but I ended up enjoying it. And here's why. I've come to a realization of sorts, and I think you guys might agree with me even. The realization is that I'm not watching G1. They might nod to it. In Age of Extinction, you see Optimus Prime for the first time in a very flat-faced semi-truck, which is reminiscent of his original G1 design. And then at some point early on in the film, he shifts and takes on the form of the new present. It kind of ties that past and present, the extinction of the old, the birth of the new, kind of an ideology that we have. That dichotomy does play on as well as we see not the Dinobots that we expect, but the Dinobots we're given. And so I'll say to you this. Don't go into any of these films if you haven't seen any of them, or if you've seen them all. If you ever rewatch them, don't go into it with the idea that you're watching something that has strong ties and connects very adherently to the Transformers comics, graphic novels, video games, cartoon show. Take all that and toss it. Because essentially, the way I've accepted this franchise is that I'm not watching any of that. I'm essentially watching the imagination brought to life on screen of a child sitting on the floor, playing with action figures, and making stuff up as he goes along. And I think with that mentality, with that kind of a thought, that little spark put there, instead of going in with all these preconceived notions, I think that's how I found Age of Extinction so much more enjoyable as a film. Because I'd finally, after all this time, taken away the thought of, oh, that's not exactly how Jetfire is. Oh, why did he only keep Jetfire for that long? That Soundwave doesn't look like that. Nuh-uh, no way. I've taken all that away, and I've accepted what they're trying to do, and what the audience is that they're trying to bring to this. And I think that it's with that I'm able to say to you guys, you'll probably enjoy The Last Knight. Whether they go with a Rodimus Prime, whether they go with a time travel, whether they do both, or none. Enjoy it for what it is. Thanks for watching the video. If you like what you see, feel free to give me a thumbs up and share the video with your friends. And if you want, in the description box below, I got a bunch of social media links. Patreon, Discord, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, it's down there. and it's ways that you can contact with me outside of these videos. Feel free to leave a comment or just bring a discussion to your friends by sharing the video. Until next time, guys, I've been your humble host, Dragonius, and I'll see you all on the next episode of whatever I do. Toodles!